You ever notice how it's always the smallest people in the room who think they need to be the loudest? That was Brenda Thompson in a nutshell. 5'2", designer boots with the tag still on, marching through knee-deep snow like she owned the weather itself. The morning this all started, I was out shoveling my driveway before dawn, breath turning to steam, muscles aching, thinking only of getting a clear path for Mrs. Patterson, my next-door neighbor. She's in her 80s, brittle bones, and a stubborn streak. One wrong step on that ice, and she'd be in the hospital. My heated walkway was a lifesaver for her, literally, and I put everything I had into it. 12 grand, months of planning, all for the peace of mind that nobody would break a hip just getting their mail. You'd think that would make me a good neighbor. Instead, it made me public enemy number one. Brenda came storming over that day, clipboard gripped to her chest like a riot shield, squinting through the flurries, yelling over the wind, "Kyle Richardson, we need to talk about your flagrant violation of community standards." She nearly wiped out twice crossing the street, but pride always comes before the fall. She held out the clipboard with a shaking, gloved hand, highlighted section, some rule about exterior heating systems, 2019 guidelines, blah, blah, blah. You need to shut it down immediately. I just stared at her, waiting for the punchline. The wind chill was pushing -12. Blizzard warning blaring from every weather app. You realize people could get seriously hurt, right? I said, you wanted to turn off the only safe walkway in 3 blocks. Didn't matter. Rules were rules. You failed to obtain HOA approval. I'd applied 7 months ago. Never got a reply. That's because it was denied. Brenda snapped, not a trace of irony. Now, you have 24 hours, or we start fining you $500 a day. She spun on her heel, nearly slipped again, and vanished back into her picture-perfect yard. The one with $1 million landscaping and a flagpole that'd probably violate 6 ordinances if anyone bothered to look. That cold seeped right through my coat as I watched her go, heart pounding, phone buzzing in my pocket. Mrs. Patterson checking in. Did I just see Brenda giving you trouble? I texted back a brave lie. Nothing I can't handle. Stay warm. Truth is, I was rattled. Brenda's HOA wasn't about community. Ever since she'd muscled her way into the president's seat, she'd turned the place into her own little fiefdom. Last month, she fined the Hendersons $3 grand for using the wrong Christmas lights. Off-white, not pure white. Month before that, she'd threatened legal action against Tom Morrison for parking his work truck in his own driveway. You'd think we lived in Beverly Hills, not a regular Colorado subdivision where the biggest scandal used to be who didn't rake their leaves. I try to calm myself, coffee, a little pacing, weigh my options. That walkway wasn't just a luxury. It was essential, environmentally friendly, runs on cheap electricity, keeps the sidewalks safer than any city plow ever could. And Brenda wanted to shut it down over paperwork. Right on cue, my lawyer, Derek Sean, called. He'd gotten a notice from the HOA, threatening to slap a lien on my property if I didn't comply. That woman was fast. I explained the whole saga, heated walkway, blizzard, the application I'd filed. Derek was quiet a moment, then said, they might have a technical leg to stand on, but forcing you to shut down a safety feature during a blizzard? That's unreasonable. It could open them up to liability if someone slips. So what do? I asked. Don't shut it down, he said. Let them fine you. We'll fight it. I'll send them a formal response. I thanked him, but I won't lie. Fighting the HOA meant months of stress, legal bills, and Brenda breathing down my neck. That night, unable to sleep, I wandered down to my basement to check the walkway's control panel. That's when I noticed something I'd almost forgotten, a little access door behind the water heater. Previous owner once told me it led to the original utility hookup for the neighborhood, back when the development was brand new. Out of curiosity, I squeezed in and found an old, cobweb-choked room, pipes converging into a big junction box marked Meadowbrook Community Well Primary Distribution. I'd always thought we were on city water, but looking at those pipes, old labels, faded warnings, I got curious. After some digging through county records online, I discovered the well was still technically active, serving 32 homes. Built in '74, annexed by the city in the '80s, But the HOA had never shut it down or properly permitted it. They just let it run, off the books. Suddenly, this petty walkway fight was starting to look a lot bigger. If that well wasn't permitted, it was a ticking time bomb, illegal, potentially contaminated, massive fines if the state ever found out. I took photos, documented everything, and tried to wrap my head around what I'd stumbled onto. The next morning, Brenda showed up again, this time with Patricia, the treasurer, and Gary, the secretary. All three looked like they'd spent the night plotting. We've conducted a visual inspection. Your heated walkway is still operational, Brenda said, voice sharp as sleet. Fines will begin accruing as of midnight. Not shutting it down, I told her. It's a safety feature. If someone falls, the HOA could be liable. Patricia cut in, community guidelines supersede individual concerns. If everyone ignored the rules, there'd be chaos. Heated walkways aren't chaos. They're common sense. Gary, red-faced and scowling, stepped forward. You think you're special? Rules don't apply to you? We're making an example out of you, Richardson. Is that a threat? I asked. Brenda smiled. It's a promise. Enjoy your fines. I called Derek again. He told me to document everything, every letter, every nasty email. Then I told him about the well. He got real quiet. If that's true, it's huge. Unpermitted community-serving wells are major violations. Could be $25,000 a day in fines, plus mandatory shutdown. What should I do? I asked. Nothing yet. Let me look into it. This could be real leverage. While a blizzard raged outside, I kept digging. News reports started coming in about weather deaths, cars stranded. And then Mrs. Patterson knocked, bundled up like a snowman, just to thank me for keeping the walk clear. Brenda's been on a warpath since her husband left, she whispered. Find me for my mailbox being half an inch too far from the curb. Force the Kramers to tear out their vegetable garden. People are scared of her. After she left, it hit me, dozens of neighbors bullied, all for community standards. We were supposed to look out for each other, not live in fear. That night, Derek sent me a list of all the legal requirements for a community well, permits, inspections, water testing, emergency plans. The Meadowbrook well had none of it. Derek called it my nuclear option. If I reported it, the state would shut it down and hit the HOA with penalties that would make Brenda's little fines look like pocket change. But 32 homes, including mine, would lose water until the city could step in. Using it as leverage felt wrong, but so did letting my neighbors drink questionable water. The next morning, a certified letter landed on my doorstep, HOA attorney, demanding immediate shutdown of my walkway, threatening lawsuits and liens. I called Derek. It's time to play your card, he said. Report the well. But what about everyone losing water? The state will bring them into compliance, connect them to city water. It's disruptive, but necessary. People deserve to know their water is safe. I thought about all the families, the elderly, the kids, everyone Brenda had been hurting for years. Maybe this was the reckoning we needed. That afternoon, I filed a formal complaint with the Colorado Department of Public Health. Sent them everything, photos, records, the whole story. Within 2 hours, an inspector named Jennifer Garcia called me back. Mr. Richardson, this is serious. We'll investigate first thing tomorrow morning. Don't tell anyone, not even the HOA. I hung up, feeling a strange mix of relief and dread. I lit a fuse, and there was no stopping it now. That night, Brenda blasted a neighborhood-wide email. Reckless homeowner endangering community standards. She encouraged people to report their neighbors for violations, offering $25 gift cards for tips. My phone blew up. Most neighbors supported me. A few parroted Brenda's talking points, worried about property values. I just waited for morning. Jennifer Garcia showed up on time with her senior engineer. They spent 20 minutes crawling through my basement taking notes, shaking their heads. This is worse than we thought, Paul, the engineer, said. No permits, no safeguards. It's a public health risk. They plan to inspect the well site next and contact the HOA directly. Thank you, Mr. Richardson, Jennifer told me. You may have prevented a serious crisis. As they left, I knew the fireworks were just starting. Within hours, state and county vehicles swarmed the clubhouse. Brenda screeched up in her SUV, red-faced and livid, waving her arms at the officials. My phone rang. It was Brenda, shrill and furious. "You called the state on us. You're destroying this community out of spite." "No, Brenda," I said. "I reported an illegal water system that's been ignored for 50 years. Maybe you should be worried about the inspectors, not me." She swore vengeance, threatened lawsuits, and hung up. That afternoon, Jennifer knocked again. "The well is out of compliance in every way. No permits, no certified operator, no safety measures. We're shutting it down tomorrow. Aurora Water will connect all homes to city supply, but expect bottled water and disruptions for a while. As for the HOA, fines, possibly criminal charges, pending investigation." Overnight, I went from heated Walkway outcast to accidental whistleblower. Tom Morrison came by to shake my hand. "You did the right thing, Kyle. Brenda's been a menace too long." The news spread. State inspectors found bacteria in the well. Not enough to make folks sick immediately, but bad enough over time. Most neighbors thanked me. A few cursed me for the inconvenience. Mrs. Patterson brought a casserole and hugged me so hard I thought my ribs might crack. "Brenda needed to be stopped," she said. "If this is what it took, so be it." Later that day, Derek emailed me. HOA backing down. The board withdrew all violations, retroactively approved my walkway, and waived every fine. Damage control, pure and simple. They wanted me to stay quiet. But I couldn't let it go. I'd uncovered more, thousands of dollars missing from the HOA's budget, supposedly for well maintenance that never happened. I compiled a report and sent it to every homeowner. By evening, a special meeting was scheduled. The community was ready for blood. The night of the meeting, the clubhouse was standing room only. Brenda and her loyalists sat up front, facing wave after wave of angry questions about the well, the missing money, the abuse of power. When pressed for records, Brenda fumbled and blustered. Lisa Chun, a neighbor, demanded to know where $20,000 in maintenance funds had gone. Patricia stammered, "General infrastructure." Nobody bought it. After hours of grilling, Michael Brennan, a retired attorney, called for a vote. The board was ousted, nearly unanimous. The next vote referred everything to a forensic accountant and the district attorney. Brenda stormed out, still warning we'd regret it. The audit revealed nearly $80,000 misappropriated, most funneled into a sham company owned by Brenda's cousin. No services, just phony management fees. The DA charged Brenda with felony theft and fraud. Patricia got probation. Gary turned witness. The state covered the bulk of the emergency water upgrades thanks to insurance. And for the first time, people saw where their fees really went. Spring came, snow melted, and Brenda was sentenced to 3 years in state prison. Restitution, public disgrace, the whole 9 yards. I never wanted to be a hero. But after all that, the neighborhood changed. The new board was transparent, posted every dollar online, hired real managers. My heated walkway was officially recognized as a community asset. People stopped me on the street. Kids played on my warm sidewalk. Even the Johnsons who bought Brenda's house thanked me for standing up. Jennifer Garcia, the inspector, stopped by just to say the case had sparked reform all over Denver. Dozens of old neighborhoods bringing wells into compliance because one homeowner asked the right questions. When the next winter rolled in, I turned on my walkway and watched the snow melt instantly. Mrs. Patterson could get her mail safely. People waved, chatted, no longer worried about petty fines or secret meetings. Looking back, I realized the biggest lesson wasn't about water or heated sidewalks. It was about standing up to abuse, even when it's easier to go along. One stubborn neighbor, one small act of defiance, can ripple out in ways you never imagined. So where's the line? When does holding the community together become controlling it? How much power should a handful of people have over their neighbors' lives? I still wonder. Maybe you've had your own run-in with a little dictator in a nice suit. Maybe you've watched a good place turn toxic over time. So, tell me, where do you stand when the snow starts to fall and the rules make less sense than the weather? Drop your story in the comments, share your own battle, Or tell me, what's the wildest HOA power trip you've ever seen? Because if there's one thing I learned, it's that justice doesn't just come from courts or new boards. Sometimes it starts with a single neighbor who won't back down, and the rest is history.